Uh, Sometimes it's a little cruel that you have a day like Thanksgiving, then you immediately gotta go back to normal the next day. Uh, Such is life. Good morning and happy Friday, everyone. So, I mean, look, it was Thanksgiving yesterday. It's kind of hard to come up with anything that's considered a low, I guess. I mean, if I do have a low, it's the fact that, don't get me wrong, I had a great time having Thanksgiving at my grandma's house. And, obviously the food was good. But where we were all eating is kind of like cramped and confined. And not really conducive to necessarily having company come over. I mean, again, it was more like just the seating arrangements that was kind of, bad. But again, that was fine. I mean, so I see my family yesterday. The food was good. That's high right there. Speaking of things that I can consider high, my Cowboys won. NFL history was made. Most pick sixes in a year, in a season. Dude, that blank is on fire. Like, I'm watching the game yesterday. I'm like, I wonder if this team would lose to the Eagles. And I'm like, of course we're losing the Eagles. It was messing everything up. So I was 2-1 on the day in terms of NFL picks. I was wrong about the Packers winning, but I was right about my Cowboys, and I was right about the 49ers. So, pretty decent track record overall. What else? Well, I can definitely say my act of kindness was, I helped my dad bring food home to my mom. My mom was working yesterday, so we brought food home to her. As well as, I made a whole lot of pickles yesterday for holidays. I got a lot of pickles being made. Okay, so get this, including like the 5 jars I had from when I made them around to Halloween. I've got 33 jars of pickles in my fridge. I mean, they're all of various sizes. Like, I'm gonna have to give a few to, little kids. But, that's what I got. I hope everyone had a happy Thanksgiving yesterday as well. We got, the parade, which I heard the parade really wasn't as good this year. Like, something about the broadcast, like, it was either NBC or I hear, like, NBC had, like, a bad broadcast, but CBS was, like, pretty solid overall. Luffy was in the parade. Alright, Monkey D. Luffy in the parade. Awesome. Good to see One Piece having good representation. Let's see. Honestly, yes, it was a good day overall. And it's even complemented further by the fact that, we had Sebastian Maniscalco on Hot Ones yesterday. Which, let me bring up my notes. Get my notes to bring up. Actually, hold on a second. I had to save my file. So, for those of you who don't know, Sebastian Maniscalco is a comedian, and a funny comedian. And he has a new show streaming on, I believe, Peacock, called Bookie. And for those who don't know what a bookie is, basically, they're the people that you call and you place bets. And should someone lose a bet, the bookie has to come find you if you don't pay up. So, Sean's first question was literally like, what are your insights on the mind of a bookie? And funny enough, Sebastian used to gamble himself. You know, he would go to Vegas with the mindset like, you win $5,000, and because he used to wait tables as a side job before he did stand up. So like, I go to Vegas, I win $5,000. Like, I can afford to take a week off to pursue stand up, but he could never win. So now, whenever he goes into a casino, the only thing that brings him joy is if he leaves the casino with money that he got from performing at said casino. So, I guess, wow, that's sort of a funny way of saying, like, you work for your money. When, both literally and figuratively, he worked for his money. He's a stand-up comedian, he did stand-up in the casino and made money that way. Cool. His favorite regional, because he's from Chicago, and every area in our country has regional TV commercials, and the Empire jingle is his favorite. He talked about this one auto insurance commercial called Eagle Man, like Perillo Ford, something like that. It made me think, like, do I have a favorite regional commercial? I mean, it's not necessarily from this region, but there was this one guy who sold cars. He passed away a few years ago, but he would always end every commercial with, "It's huge." I love those commercials, man. Oh, rest in peace, that guy. Oh, man. I was sad when I learned that guy passed away. Very sad. Let's move on to happier things. And Sebastian, and this is a guy, I just want to point out, like, there's another question, because Sean asked, like, do you, like, look for everyday stuff, or do everyday stuff to look for new material? And yeah. See, I really gotta give props to Sebastian and his family, specifically, because they get to a question later about his dad. Like, he is looking for new material. Like, he'll walk in, like, giant grocery stores and look for something funny to then talk about on stage. It was a lot easier then when he wasn't as famous and had like all the time in the world. Now it's hard to do because he's famous and he's very busy, which makes sense. And it leads right into the next question. How do you know if your hour of comedy is working? Because, all comedians have, sets, and, you got an hour to do whatever it is in your set. And you got to try and make your next joke just as funny, if not funnier, than your last one. And that can be hard to do because it's hard coming up with new material. That's why some of my favorite comedians, like Bert Kreischer and Eliza Schlesinger and Patton Oswalt, like, there's a reason why it takes, like, there isn't like a stand-up special that they do every year. Like, you gotta wait a year longer, more than a year, before their next stand-up special because they're hustling, man. They're trying to make sure they've got new material to work with. And that's what Sebastian does. Actually, speaking of, I actually mentioned earlier how Sebastian used to work in restaurants, being a waiter. Who's more savage, comedy hecklers or disgruntled diners? Diners. Because with comedy, you're there, and no matter what, they have to listen to what you have to say. With diners, though, they have like some of the most ridiculous requests that are so obscene that it can be incredibly stupid. They talked about how, they talked about how this one guy took off his shirt and tried to fight him on, like, literally took off his shirt, got on stage, and tried to fight Sebastian. That's funny. And it's also the most hostile reaction. Let's see. I mentioned how Sebastian tries to look for new material. His dad helps him out with that. Because, here's the thing. His dad is going to try and, go out and get it noticed at restaurants. You know, biggest fan and also biggest critic. I don't know, sometimes I've been working on trying to differentiate between feedback and criticism. But there are times you really do need negative criticism that push you to do better. You know what I mean? And again, it goes with Sebastian wanting to come up with new material, thinking what sounds funny that I can use on stage. I love that. It's that sort of, every day I'm hustling sort of thing. He tried to translate a few DJ Khaled quotes. To my fans, I promise you, if I quit, it doesn't mean I gave up. And keep in mind, this is the bomb. So honestly, he was too flustered with the heat to translate whatever that was. The key to more success is cocoa butter. That he actually agreed with. You gotta water your plants. Nobody can water them for you. And Sebastian's like, somebody waters my plants. Ooh. That's like a mic drop moment right there, dog. That's cool. And this is what DJ Khaled said years ago when he was on Hot Ones. Them doors that was always closed. I ripped the doors off, took the hinges off, and when I took the hinges off, I put the hinges in the other guy's hands. He used a much more colorful word there. I decided to sort of, not to say that. You know what? Let me hold up for a second. Originally, my goal this year was to not drop the F-bomb for an entire year. And technically, I already messed it up once. Sometimes I wonder what is stopping me from just saying it again. When really I can, and obviously nothing bad happened. I don't know. It just already ruined my goal of not saying it for an entire year. I guess I don't want to make it worse than it already is. Does that make sense? But regarding to the last quote that Sebastian Maniscalco tried to translate from DJ Khaled, it means grab opportunities. Grab opportunities whenever they arise. And again, it goes seriously, this entire episode is interconnected on the theme of, you gotta hustle. You gotta come up with new material. You gotta work hard at what you do to be and stay relevant. And unfortunately, we live in a day and age where it's kind of hard to see. Although it's not as bizarre as the most bizarre venue that Sebastian has ever performed at, right? So, get this. He goes to this one place called Manteca. And in the place where he's performing at, he's performing inside of a boxer's ring. And there's a bowling alley behind that area in said place where he's doing stand-up. So, to paint the scene, he's standing inside a boxing ring, doing stand-up. And in the background, you can hear somebody pick up a spare. I mean, fine enough. A boxing ring, a combination of boxing ring and bowling alley sounds fun. it just doesn't, it's just not conducive to doing stand-up comedy. Oh well. And, last question, because remember, this is the Thanksgiving episode, and Sebastian Maniscalco does consider himself a pretty decent cook. So, they came up with a guide to Thanksgiving. And if Sebastian is hosting, just let him take care of everything regarding the food. Because some people like to bring in, casserole dishes and stuff like that, bring your own, potluck style stuff. It's Thanksgiving. If I'm Sebastian's like, if I'm hosting, I'll make the food. I'll make the turkey. I'll make the stuffing. I'll make the mashed potatoes. I'll make whatever it is we're having. I'm making it, if you want, you can maybe bring some wine. Never too much wine. And the best Thanksgiving dessert, pumpkin pie. It is. Pumpkin pie is awesome. It is. It totally is. And, will the Seattle Seahawks cover the 8.5-point spread against the 49ers? He thought yes. No, they didn't. They did not cover the spread. They lost 31-13. Although, speaking of the NFL, I do have an NFL pick to make, don't I? I believe it's the Dolphins and the Jets. Let me get my note. Let me look it up. I do believe it's the Dolphins and the Jets today. Let me look it up. Yeah, it is. The Miami Dolphins and the New York Jets. Aaron Rodgers says he's going to come back by, the Christmas Eve game. And, look, it's the Jets. They're not going to beat the Dolphins. Of course we beat the Dolphins over the Jets. Don't get me wrong. If the Jets win, it would help out Buffalo tremendously. And if Buffalo wins this weekend against the Eagles, that would help my Cowboys out tremendously. So as much as I do kind of want the Jets to win, Miami's got this. I'm picking Miami over the Jets. I hope you all like this video. If you like, subscribe to the YouTube channel. On social media, as always, I'm very home this video. Before you guys watch the video, will be a wonderful, wonderful Friday. Black Friday. It's Black Friday, everyone. And remember, if any of you guys want to talk to me, I want to be here to lend you always back. Take care and make good choices. 607 all day, baby.